Hey Upper Room kids, it's Pastor Micah, and today I'm going to tell you about my 10 favorite BGMC action cards. Action cards represent something that you can do to raise money for Speed the Light or BGMC. Now, there are two specific action cards that do not count as a part of my list. I love both cards, but they're not going to be in my list. And those are the two super action mystery cards from the previous two generations. In the Rise of Revival generation, Azusa Street Revival was a super action mystery card, okay? And in Silver and Gold, Sending Barrels was a super action mystery card. Neither of those represent a fundraiser that you can do or a way you can give or raise money for missions. And so they don't count as a part of my action card top 10, okay? My number 10 favorite action card comes from Gen 1, and that is Fill Your Buddy Barrel. Okay, now the reason this is such an important one to me is because I grew up filling my buddy barrel. And I think what's really special about this as well is this isn't really a fundraiser as much as it is just a way to give money to missions. One of the things that we want to cultivate in your heart, one of the things that God wants us to do is to just be generous, to give. To not just try and raise money, but to just give the money we do have. Give some of what we do have so that others can hear about Jesus. And so even from a young age, I was filling a buddy barrel with extra loose change and coins. I still have one that sits on my nightstand that I fill with loose change I don't want to do anything with. So I love the Fill Your Buddy Barrel card because it represents giving, not just fundraising. And God wants us to do, I believe, both, but he wants us to be givers first. We have to know that we're giving and not just fundraising. We got to be willing to give ourselves. Now, my number 10 is actually a tie between two cards because I actually consider these two cards pretty much virtually the exact same card, just from different generations, and that is Bake Sale and Baking Cakes. Okay, and I understand they are a little bit different, but Baking Cakes comes from Silver and Gold. Bake Sale comes from Gen 1. I love both of these cards. I love the artwork on them, but I also love the concept because I have done many bake sales over the years to raise money for missions. Part of what we do at Cafe Commission on occasion is sell baked goods because that's a very easy way to raise money for missions. And that bake sale may very well be the most common way to raise money for any sort of missions or any fundraiser project around the nation, because that's just such an easy thing to do. And you can do that. Tons of kids can do it. It's not a hard thing to do if you get the right people behind you. My number 8 favorite BGMC card, it's going to be Selling Mystery Boxes. Now, this, to me, I believe is the only one from Rise of Revival. I did not see as many Rise of Revival action cards that I really liked, but I did like Selling Mystery Boxes because I think the concept is really cool. It's a very creative way to raise money for missions, and I'm always looking for the more creative solution. And our youth group actually did a similar fundraiser where we sold mystery books, and we're still selling those mystery books for Speed the Light missions. And we wrapped and packaged them, and you can find that video on our Trendsetters YouTube channel where we did that because I think it's just such a cool concept, and we've gotten quite a bit of money for Speed the Light. My number 7 favorite, it's going to be Give Your Birthday Money. Now, why does this one mean so much to me? I'm not a huge fan of the artwork on this one, but it's really not about the artwork. It's about what the meaning is behind it. This card right here represents 7 young ladies in our youth ministry who years ago gave their birthday money for missions. They did something, they participated in a fundraiser called the My One Day fundraiser, and they basically threw a birthday party and asked everybody not to bring gifts, only to bring money, and that 100% of that money that they got would go towards missions. All 7 students that did a birthday fundraiser in the year 2020 or 2021 raised over $1,000 for missions, for Speed the Light missions at their birthday. We even had a couple that raised over $2,000, and I think one girl that might have raised even over $3,000 at her party, because people will give in the name of your birthday. And so I love the idea. If you ever feel like you ought to throw a birthday party and ask people to give money and then give that money to missions, I say go for it because it's a really special way to do it. Another person you probably know that has done this fundraiser, but in a different way, is my wife, Miss Hema. When she was a teenager, she had what's called a quinceañera, which is a birthday party, a special 15th birthday party, and she got $800 for that party, and she gave every bit of it to Speed the Light, and she was a Speed the Light champion that year. And so I encourage you, if you ever want to give your birthday money, that's a way to be super generous. We've seen it work so many times that young people are able to give so much money to missions because they just make the sacrifice of giving up what would be theirs and they give it to God instead. It's his money anyway, right? This is my number 6 favorite BGMC card is create or sell art. I really like this card because it represents something that pretty much anybody can do. Not everybody is artsy, as you might say, but everybody could draw or color pictures, which is also another Gen 1 BGMC action card. But everybody can do something. And a lot of people could do, maybe they could paint, but there are people all around in our churches who would buy the artwork that you create. And art doesn't just mean it's something that you draw or paint or color. Sometimes it can be a video you make, or it could be something you write. And so there's a ton of ways to create art that people will buy, and you can create multiple kinds. We had a young lady that years ago created jewelry, and I believe that might even be one action card, or making bead creations or something of the sort. But this young lady made jewelry out of forks and knives and silverware. And she sold it. That's a form of creating and selling art. So the awesome thing about the creating, selling art card is it represents a number of things. It's endless amount of things that you can do. For number 5, I'm gonna have to go with 24-hour live stream. This is from Silver and Gold. It's a newer card, and I really, really like this card for a couple of reasons. I have never done a 24-hour live stream for BGMC or for Speedlight. However, I've always wanted to, okay? And years ago, I saw a group of youth pastors that did a spicy hot challenge, and they did a live stream for hours on end, and they were having people give money, and every bit of money they received, they had to take another dig of a hotter sauce or whatever. And I thought that was so cool. And many times over the years, I've hoped to put something like that together. I'm hoping this is the year, 2026, we get to do a 24-hour live stream fundraiser. I think that is such a cool concept, and I think that as far as I know, everybody that's done one of those has raised a ton of money for missions. Because if you think over the course of 24 hours, a lot of people may click on that video and see what you're doing and may say, I want to give. They may feel the Lord speaking to their heart, and they may say, I want to give $20 for what they're doing. They may do challenges. Something I did many years ago is I spent 24 hours in a box truck with 2 other youth pastors, friends of mine, and we did some live streams while we were in there. And we spent that whole time in there. We didn't have a bathroom. We didn't have all the necessary stuff you'd have, but we did it to raise money for missions. And we were able to raise over $12,000 for missions by spending 24 hours in a box truck. For my number 4 favorite BGMC card is write a book. Part of the reason I like the write a book card is because I personally want to write a book. I've begun writing a book. I want to write many books as I get older. I want to write books that are fun, maybe even fiction. I want to write nonfiction. I want to write books that glorify God. And I think this is such a unique way that you can raise money for missions. You could write a book, a picture book, a story book, and there are people in our congregation and people around the community and people that you know in your family and your friends that would buy that book to support you. And all the money could go to missions. And so I love the write a book concept because it's something I personally want to do, and I have a goal to do soon. My number 3 favorite BGMC action card is making soap. And making soap is a pretty special card. And I'll admit that a little bit of the reason it's this high is because I think that artwork is so sick. I love the artwork on this card. But also, we had a young lady, Brooklyn, who years ago, one of her first individual Speed the Light fundraisers was making soap scrubs. And she made these soap scrubs and she sold them for Speed the Light. She was able to raise a lot of money that way. But I also think, once again, part of the reason I like the making soap card is because it represents something creative that you can do. Who would have thought you could make soap and sell it and raise hundreds or thousands of dollars for missions? But it's possible. Number 2 is selling hot chocolate. First of all, I love the artwork on this card. That's part of the reason I love Champions and Disasters cards. I love the snow. I love the wintry feel on the card. But I also love selling hot chocolate, well, because I love hot chocolate. I love to drink anything chocolate. It's great. But I also love the fact that years ago in 2017, our youth ministry began something we call Cafe Commission. And Cafe Commission is a booth where we sell all kinds of drinks, and now we sell books, now we sell shirts and merch and apparel. We sell a number of things from that booth, and 100% of the profit and proceeds go to BGMC missions. But you know where it all started? It started by selling hot chocolate. On a cold January Sunday at one of our very first Next Gen Youth Sundays of 2017, we pulled the table out, and we had a couple young people that made hot chocolate, and I believe we had some cookies available as well. And Cafe Commission started from there. And since then, we've raised thousands upon thousands of dollars for Speed the Light or BGMC by simply selling things after church every once in a while on a Sunday morning. But my absolute favorite action card of all comes from Gen 1. There's a hollow and non-hollow version of this card, and it's Content Creator. Now, this is the hollow version. I also have the non-hollow version. But the reason I love the Content Creator card is because I personally consider myself a content creator. I do not create an overload of content. I'm not Mr. Beast, right? I don't have videos with millions of dollars being spent and millions of views, but I love to create content. As a young boy, I wanted to direct films in Hollywood. I wanted to write books. I wanted to write movies. I wanted to write comic books. I've always been about the creativity and content. And even now, I have a YouTube channel where I make personal videos, and we have this YouTube channel now where we make videos for you guys. But what I love about this too is that one of the main ways that our youth group has attempted to raise money for Speed the Light missions has been through our Trendsetters YouTube account. And so what I love about that is for almost 4 years now, by the time you watch this video, it'll probably have been 4 years since we started that channel. And on that channel, there are hundreds of videos that you can watch for your enjoyment. And if we ever receive a profit from that, 100% of the profit from those videos goes to Speed the Light. And so I love the idea of a content creator, of somebody that uses their creativity to make videos that people want to watch, that makes other kinds of content, whether it's blog posts or they create websites, whatever it is. I love the idea of somebody doing that, and I love that I get to do that as well as a youth pastor. So I want to encourage you, find some creative ways to raise money for BGMC. There are plenty of super action or action cards that represent a way that you can raise money. But I encourage you also to just think through your own creativity. What are you good at? What can you do? How can God use you or something that you are strong in? Let God show you how you can creatively raise money for BGMC missions. Look at these cards, get ideas from them, come up with your own idea. Maybe it'll be a card one day. Tell me in the comments, what are your favorite action cards?